Hi, everyone. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for joining, obviously, if you're here. And yeah, I mean, today, I'm Mitch, CEO of Northern's Chartered Accountants. And today we're joined by Kat from Xero. Hi, Kat.
Hi.
And today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, well, making tax digital. So it's obviously something that is coming in for pretty much every single business. If it's not impacting you now, it will impact you in the not so distant future. And if you kind of read about what everybody's saying, everybody's kind of treating it negatively. And for me, it's actually quite positive. And what we're going to do today is we're going to touch on everything that I guess is positive and how you can actually use it to your advantage. And I thought there's no better than getting someone on from Xero who are probably, well, are the biggest cloud software in probably the world, right, Kat?
I think we're getting that way, yeah.
Yeah, probably in the world. And we're actually very privileged to be close partners with them. So I thought it'd be great to get them on, hear about actually how it can benefit you as a business, rather than hearing about the negatives with HMRC getting information up to, regularly and all that stuff. It's actually a good thing for you and your business. So Kat, I'm going to pass over to you. Do you want to take it from here? I mean, I'm going to jump in with questions if I have any throughout, and obviously anybody who has got any questions, please feel free to put them in the box or in the chat. I think there is a thing for it. And we'll touch on them at the end because we'll have time at the end. So Kat, welcome. Hope your morning's been good. And over to you.
Well, thanks, Mitch. Yeah, it's been a lovely morning, thank you. So I'm Kat, I'm an inside consultant at Xero. So as a consultant, we work with our accounting partners like Norden's to kind of help them onboard their clients into Xero and kind of help them show the benefits to the clients of using like a cloud-based solution. So just a bit of a background on me. So prior to working for Xero, I actually worked in an accountancy practice where I was the main person that was training our clients on using cloud-based softwares and kind of going through that mindset with them of moving from manual records onto a cloud-based solution. So although I understand how important this is to make this move, I also can kind of see how hard it can be sometimes. So sorry, I just go through kind of the agenda for today. Sarah, could we go back a slide, please? Thank you. Brilliant. Okay. So the things we're kind of going to look at today is going to be a bit of the benefits of like cloud accounting. Then we'll take a little bit of a look at the MTD timeline. I'm not a tax expert, so I'm just going to kind of go through what it looks like at the minute and kind of what Xero are doing to comply with it. Then some of the key features of Xero, and then finally just like some resources that you can go away and take a look at after today's webinar. So if we take a look at some of the benefits of using cloud-based software, obviously there's loads of benefits to it. I'm just going to pull out a few just to have a bit of a chat about. So a few that kind of stick out to me is like the data automation. So meaning that less manual entry and more actually using the software to run your business and less time spent actually inputting the information into a software or into a book. It just means that you can work in real time, which is a benefit to your business because being able to make those informed business decisions with having accurate information there and then when you need it is definitely going to be a benefit to you. And also that improved accuracy of less manual entry just means there's less chances of that human error leaking into it, that you can actually rely on the software to actually help your business and the accuracy of it. A few bits that I wanted to point out as well is so Xero's got 24/7 support. So although we don't have a telephone number out there, we do telephone support as well. So what it is, it's an online system. So you'd raise a ticket to our support staff. If you wanted to telephone back, you can just put your number on there and they're more than happy to give you a call back. Like we said earlier, so Xero is actually worldwide, so we offer that 24/7 support. So during our UK hours, you'll get through to our UK support team, which are based in Manchester, Milton Keynes and London. But then outside of their hours, if you need support, we're always going to be available to you as well.
What I will say, Kat, what I will say off the back of that is we obviously use Xero for a lot of our clients and the service is phenomenal. We always get a response if we ever need it. So yeah, anyone who's doing their own book, anyone who wants to take on making tax digital themselves, Xero is you know, if you want instant response, if you're sitting up late at night doing the bookkeeping, you know, Xero is, obviously I wouldn't advise anybody to do their own bookkeeping because it's quite a niche area, but Xero is the one for service, for customer service. I think you're the best.
Yeah, I think our customer service team are amazing. Like they are really good. And just with the telephone bit, I think that's the only bit sometimes people are a bit unsure about, but we do telephone support, and they are brilliant. So definitely make use of that Xero support if you need it. A couple of others as well. So paperless, I think gone are the days of having stacks of paperwork around your office. With using a cloud-based solution, it'll store all that information for you and you can actually get rid of it. Came out a few years ago actually that HMRC will accept a digital copy of a sales invoice or purchase invoice now. If there's ever a need for it with investigations and things, they will accept a digital copy. So I think that was a great thing that came out. And then obviously NTD compatibility and more U time I've put on here, because instead of those nights where you spent in the office doing the paperwork, you can actually do that quicker, faster, do it during the day, just so that you can make more time for yourselves and for doing the things that you enjoy rather than getting bogged down in your paperwork. So those are just a few of the benefits. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but that's just kind of taking a high level look at some of the benefits there. Brilliant. So this is the revised Making Tax Digital timeline. Obviously, this has changed a few times over the last couple of years. So the first phase was in April 2019. So that was when VAT registered businesses became Making Tax Digital ready. So any businesses with the over 85,000 turnover had to be registered for Making Tax Digital in 2019. And then in April 22, that is when the next phase is going to be. So this is for the voluntary VAT registered businesses. So at this point, this is kind of the next thing that we're going to head in towards this April. Another stepping stone here actually as well is, so Making Tax for income tax and self-assessment is due to come out in April 24, but from April 22 HMRC are actually opening a pilot where a lot of the cloud-based softwares that are trialling out using tax, they can actually join that, and Xero will be joining that and will be helping our partners actually start submitting through the ITSA scheme from April 22, so that when it becomes April 24 and it's mandatory, any kind of kinks and things with the HMRC linked to the software, they'll be all worked out by then. So just making sure that, just kind of letting you know that although it's going to be mandatory in April 24, behind the scenes, accounting practices like Nordens and the software companies are kind of working together to make sure that that is as smooth as we can, really. But like I said, things could change with HMRC, so that's what it's looking like at the minute, but that could change. And then in April 25, that's when income tax self-assessment for partnerships with over 10,000, they're going to be in from April 25. And then April 26, that is when the corporation tax are going to fall into it. So I think we might have a poll that I potentially just missed. So I think there's going to be a poll coming up now. Just think I might miss the first one, but we'll jump in with the second poll. There should be a poll that comes up just asking about if you've signed up for Making Tax Digital already, and if you've not, kind of why you've not signed up for it. Just kind of have a bit of a feel of how people are feeling about signing up already. I'll give you a few minutes to answer.
That's the one thing I like about these. We try and be as interactive as we possibly can, right? It's I think it's really important to see where everyone stands on it. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if people have already signed up. Too much hassle, you know, waiting for it to be closer to the deadline, or even more interesting, if people weren't aware of Making Tax Digital. That would be an interesting one, because HMRC have probably spent a fortune in marketing to make everybody aware.
I think it depends on the different way they send things out as well, because I mean, they send out a lot of letters to people, which sometimes, I mean, getting that scary brown envelope through your door is not what you want to look at. So I think sometimes the way that they kind of bring it across to people can depend whether you've looked at it or not yet.
So we got the results. It'll be interesting to see the results. No. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Brilliant.
Okay, that's interesting. Good. So a lot of people have already signed up. I'd like to talk to the 9%, and I would definitely like to talk to the 18% at the bottom as well who wasn't aware of MTD. So please reach out, whoever you are, because we can help you with that. We can help you with the process. So moving on.
So back to me. So just looking at some kind of facts and figures just surrounding Xero. So we've been a launchpad for a small business in the UK for just over 12 years now. And as we just see these figures growing year on year. So these get released every March. So these are the figures for March 21, but we're well aware that the figures for March 22 this year that are going to be coming out, they're going to be really exceeding this, and we can kind of see these figures growing year on year. So we know that the way we're supporting our small businesses is working. So we've got here over 2.7 million subscribers, probably reckoning that'll double this year, especially with the changes to Making Tax Digital. We've got over 1,000 connections with apps, which we'll talk about a little bit later and kind of show you where that sits within Xero. And we've got over 3,600 staff worldwide. A lot of that is within the UK. So like I said, we've got offices in Milton Keynes, London, and Manchester now. So we're spreading around all over the UK. So that's just some of the figures kind of just surrounding Xero and how it's going at the moment. So if we take a look now at some of the actual key features of Xero, I'm just going to pull out some just to talk about in a little bit more detail. Brilliant. So we take a look first at bank feeds. So if you've not heard of bank feeds before, what it is, it's a way that a cloud-based software, so Xero, can link directly with your bank account. So if you've got online banking for your business, we can link that directly to within Xero and can pull through those banking transactions hourly, daily. It's always live data that you're working with. So you could make a transaction in the morning, like pay a bill, and within a few hours, that transaction will be in Xero for you to reconcile. So it's just a way to constantly keep that data flowing, that's working in real time. So you're not having to wait for a month end or a quarter end to see how the business is doing. You can actually work on it daily. Which again, it's just feeding into that, being able to make like informed business decisions on the cash flow that you've got. So bank feeds are available for most banks. You'll be able, there's a list on Xero's website that will show you, but there's over 300 connections with different banks. So hopefully there should be a link there for you.
I think one of the things with bank feeds for me is that whenever I've spoken to people about cloud accounting, it sounds time consuming. And actually it should at least half the time you spend doing your books, because the idea is to automate as much as possible. So with the bank feeds, it's probably worth saying it's read only, so you can't access the bank account from the software, but you don't have to go through your bank statements. It pulls everything in, right? It pulls everything in automatically. All your invoicing is done on the system, and expenses, well, I'm sure you're going to touch on that in a minute, but it actually completely halves the time, and it gives you, as what Kat was saying before, complete up-to-date information. So when you are making key decisions in your business, it just makes it to see real-time, up-to-date information. You know, we do it here. I get real-time information to make key decisions. It's a game changer. And it's also worth saying, I'm not sure if you're going to touch on this, that you can put in all your forecasts in as well. Are you going to touch on that?
I'm not going to touch on forecasts today, but it is definitely like a brilliant.
So what's good is once you've done your forecasts, and yes, every business should have forecasts, and if you haven't, you're missing a trick, because if there's one thing that every successful business has, it's forecasts. You can input those into the system as well. Once you've put those into the system with the real-time information that you produce, you can show reports comparing them to the forecast. So not are you only seeing up-to-date information, you're comparing them with your targets and your forecasts, which for us as a business, it was a complete game changer. And if you speak to any of our clients who use Xero, and we have done forecasts for them, complete game changer. So if you haven't done forecasts already, again, reach out, let me know. You can email me, mitch@nordens.co.uk. I'll guide you in the right direction, but it's something that you need to do because it's only going to benefit you with Making Tax Digital comes in as well. Sorry, Kat, I'm sorry to take the thunder. Back over to you. Carry on.
No, it's fine. It is a brilliant feature to use. I mean, if you're going to be using a cloud-based solution, you've got to make the most of it and use all the different features that you can. So definitely one to take a look at. So just going to take a look next around sales invoices. No, we're not. Tracking categories. So tracking categories are a way in Xero kind of differentiating different areas of your business. So there's a few kind of different business types that this works really well for. One I'll just pull out is landlords. So if you have, say, 5 properties, what you can do is set up a tracking category for each different property. And what it is, it's a way of like reporting different. So you can pull out reports on different tracking categories. So say, for example, with the landlords with different properties, you could pull out a profit and loss for each individual property. So you might have one that's doing really well, making a massive profit, but you could have one that's making a loss. In a normal situation, when that's all gathered together, you might not necessarily see those differences. So with using tracking categories, you can concentrate on the areas of the business that you need to. So for example, with things like that, you might think this is making a loss, I don't think this is worth us carrying on looking at, or this area we need to concentrate on more. So it's just a way that you can see your business in a bit more detail in different areas. So tracking categories is a brilliant feature in Xero to use. Now we'll take a look at sales invoices. So sales invoices in Xero is brilliant. Sometimes I think it's one of the things that people tend to go to first with the cloud-based software, because sitting down and manually typing up in Word your invoices and then something goes wrong or something moves or they don't look the same. I think it's a brilliant place to start when you're looking at a cloud-based software. So within Xero, a few different features. You can automate your sales invoices and set up recurring sales invoices. So feeding in with that landlord's theme, you could set up an invoice every month for your tenants. And what you can do is you can set that up to automatically get sent out as well. So you're not having to every month go in and raise that invoice. It will just automatically get sent out. So Xero will raise it and email it straight out. Also, those details get saved. So when you input customer details, it sets up a little account for that customer. It'll save all the customer's details, and then underneath it, you'll be able to see every sales invoice you've ever raised for them, and then also when they've paid as well. So it's a good way if you're kind of tracking whether somebody always pays late or certain dates and things like that. It's kind of an all-in-one solution for your customer side. Again, invoice templates you can use in Xero, which is brilliant. Just means that you can really personalize them. So you can put in there a logo, change the font, just make it look really good for your business. And it also looks really sleek as well. If it's coming from the software, it always looks the same. It's a really good format to use. And we can also accept payments from within Xero. So when you send out the email to your customers, you can put in there a link where they can pay direct from there as well. So that's a great feature. If sometimes businesses are struggling with getting payments through, that feature is really good to use. And then also the tracking of, I'm not sure whether some people aren't aware of this, but I think it's one of my favorite features, is that you can track an invoice. So when you email a customer an invoice, you can actually see what date it was emailed and then what date they opened it. So if you're chasing customers now, they can't say they've not read that invoice, because you can see actually the date that they've opened it. So you can say, like, I can see that you viewed it on this date. So I think it's a good feature to use.
I think what I like about the invoicing is that once it's on the system, you've got the automated credit control as well. And when I speak to business owners, and we've got 2,000, 3,000 clients, and then most of the time the biggest problem is they don't get paid in time. And then I ask the question, who does? Or they have cash flow problems. And then it's the case of, well, no one pays in time. I'm like, what are you doing about it? Oh, I call them and chase them. They tell me they're going to pay it, and they tend to not pay it or take their time. I think the good thing about Xero is you can automate credit control emails as well. So you can set timelines to go, if I'm not paid by this date, which is measured by the banking, the bank statements that are linked, it will send an email, and if they don't reply, it will send another email, and if they don't reply, send another email. And there's also apps, right? Because one thing I really love about Xero is the APIs. And for those of you who don't know what APIs are I'm going to struggle explaining it myself. APIs are basically, Xero lets you work with other apps and allows them to talk to one another. So there are lots of automated credit control apps out there, loads of different apps out there. Dext, which is pictures of invoicing and things like, and receipts rather. It all links and it talks to that. So off the back of the sales invoices, I think you're not even touching the sides of what you can do here, because there's all the add-ons you can do. There's legal companies that if you don't I think there's one called Chaser, I could be wrong, but if you don't get paid within a certain period of time, it automatically, without you doing anything, goes to debt collection, and so on. So I think this is a great feature, the sales invoices, and I think anybody that's using Xero that isn't raising their invoices on Xero needs to. Anybody that isn't using any type of cloud system, it's only going to benefit your business. I promise you, whether you're doing it yourself, whether we're doing it for you, excuse me, whether if you're not a client of ours, whether your accountant's doing it for you, it's only going to benefit you.
Yeah, definitely. I think the sales invoice side is sometimes you weigh in, because it definitely just makes that process so much easier for you. You're not having to spend time chasing and setting invoices. So definitely make the most of the sales invoice side, and use as many of the features as you can in there. So we've also got from there, we've got the purchase invoice side. So this is all like the bills side of Xero. So get all your sales in there as well, but we've also got the bills side. So when you're entering your bills onto Xero, you can enter due dates in there, which just means you can run reports, which will show you what invoices are due when. Again, it's a brilliant way of keeping on top of your cash flow, because you'll be able to see what invoices are due to be paid this month or this quarter, just so that you can keep on top of that as well. So you can compare what sales you've got for the quarter and what you've got going out. Again, so all the bills are stored within Xero, so you've got that physical copy in there. So again, no need for paper, they can all be stored in there. We do also have a new feature that's coming to Xero, so like we were just talking about the links, called Paywise, which is a way that you can actually pay your invoices from within Xero as well. So if you wanted more details on that, I'm sure Mitch and the team at Nordens would be able to give you a bit more information on it. But it's just a way of keeping on top of your cash flow again, and you can schedule payments and things like that in Xero. I just say, same as with the sales invoice, use as much of the payment side of Xero as you can. Just use all the features that we've got available, and hopefully should run smoothly.
Good. So we're going to do another poll. Next, we're not going to miss this one, Kat. We're going to do another poll. So yeah, in terms of raising your invoices, paying bills to suppliers, do you feel more confident in doing this through sort of mobile app, smartphone banking, internet banking on computer, or manually with your bank and accountant? Interesting one, because I think there's going to be, you know, depending on the type of business you are, depending on the type of person you are, I'm interested to see this. I get a lot of clients now, Kat, that actually prefer doing it on their mobile. So they go to client or potential clients, right? And they go to the actual site, whatever they're doing, and they prepare a quote using Xero. And then once the quote's been accepted, they turn it into an invoice. It's all done on your phone. It's unbelievable.
You see that a lot from like within the construction industry as well. I know I used to have quite a lot of construction clients who they basically do their entire bookkeeping on the mobile app on the go during the day. It works so well.
Yeah, it's very, very good. It just saves so much time. Oh wow, okay, interesting. So very good. So still more majority of people still using internet banking on the computer. I think as Making Tax Digital comes in, as things get more digital and phones become more advanced, although who knows how more advanced they can actually become, I think that will change going forward into more app and smartphone banking, especially with all the new blockchain technology that's coming out at the moment. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Where are we going? Next slide. Next slide.
I think my next slide is actually talking about the mobile app.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I actually think the mobile app's brilliant. I've got it on my phone as well. I've got two. I've got that and I've got Dext. Dext I just use to pictures of receipts, and it feeds directly into Xero, which is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's very
so
clever.
With Xero's API, they've got so Xero's got an open API, which means it's a lot easier for apps to integrate with. And for a lot of them, we can get a two-way integration. So like with Dex, it's got a two-way, so you can push information into Dex, but you can also view Xero from within Dex. So it's really good to have that between the softwares.
What I also like is that we built our own software, and I think there's a lot of companies that probably, if they had a choice, they would build their own system.
Yeah.
And actually Xero will work with you to make the two communicate. And that's what I think is really good about Xero, because there's other systems, there's other systems out there that just won't entertain it.
No, definitely. Xero's really good for that. Like our app developers are amazing, and they'll, like you said, they'll help where they can to kind of get you building those and integrate with Xero. So it does work really well. I will touch on it in a second, but it is why we've got as many app partners as we have. But yes, we've got Xero on the go. So just a Xero mobile app, just as we said, is a brilliant feature to use. And I'd say if you've got a Xero license, make the most of the app. Just being able to do things on the go, like raising invoices, entering your sales and your purchases on the go, and actually being able to reconcile those bank transactions wherever you are. So say, for example, you're in the car, you're waiting for an appointment, or you just waiting, you've got a chance there to bob into Xero, reconcile some transactions. And again, you're working in real time, so you've got your business data there. So if you needed to make a business decision there and then, you actually could make it informed because you've got all that information with you. So definitely make the most of the mobile app where you can. It's really easy to use as well.
It is
so I feel like not many people say that it's hard work to use. I think it is quite straightforward, which is brilliant. So with Xero, the aim is that it is an end-to-end solution. So this is kind of what we got just to kind of show Xero and kind of how it works. So we've got like the first bit that you're going to have a look at is your data capture. So that's the bank fees that we spoke about earlier. We've got HubDoc, which brings those expenses in. We've got actually expenses. So if you do expense claims for your business, you can do them within Xero, and also email to bills. So you can actually email bills directly into Xero. So that's your data capture, like getting the information in. You then code and analyze that within Xero, so within the core product. That's where you'll start creating your profit and loss and entering your sales to the right places and your purchases to the right places. Then we've got the compliance features. So just looking at things like payroll and CIS. So from within Xero, you can put CIS on your sales invoices, and if you've got any subcontractors, you can enter CIS on them. And from that, you can actually create the CIS return that you can send in monthly direct to HMRC. So that's a brilliant tool to use. We've obviously got VAT for making tax digital, so we are fully compliant with MTD for VAT, and as we go forward, we'll be compliant with making tax digital for ITSA. So we'll just roll with that as it goes. And then Xero Tax, which we're working with our accounting partners at the moment. So all of that is compliant with the government and legal side of it, so links with HMRC and Companies House. And then going across all of that, so across any of the products, we've got Xero Central. So Xero Central is our support channel. I'll go into a bit more detail of what it is, but basically it supports all the areas of Xero. So that's where you can raise tickets and talk to our support team, and they can support you in all these areas. Well, so Xero App Stores, we just touched on that slightly. So this is kind of where you can go. So Xero as your core accounting products, but if you need something outside of that core, something that's more specific to your business, we have over 1,000 apps that are connected with Xero, and we call them our app partners. And you can go into our app store and have a look at all of the apps that are there. And I'm sure that the team at Nordens will be able to kind of point you in the direction of which app will be best for your kind of business type. So it's definitely worth taking.
Yeah, and I think what you're not really doing it justice. The apps. I know it's got 1,000+ apps that you've got there, but it literally is 1,000 apps. It's unbelievable. I think every new bit of software into one of the main marketing tools works with Xero. Everything, even all the project management, CRM systems, invoicing tools. Just everything. And like you say, you've got Shopify on there, so anyone who's got a website where people are purchasing things off your website, it can talk to each other. It just automates the whole thing. Obviously there's some reconciliation in the background that needs to be done, but it doesn't really do it justice. So I feel like whoever's done that slide needs a word, because it's, yeah, I mean, the app connection is basically probably the biggest game changer for me.
Yeah, I think it's just that bit of, if you need something just outside of the core Xero, instead of thinking, oh, well, I can't use Xero because I need some kind of time tracking thing that Xero doesn't provide. We do, but it'll just sit within an app rather than within Xero. So although it's not sitting within our core products, there's always going to be something linked to it that can help. It's just using Xero.
Team to contact me. I'll give them some tips. I'll let
them know.
Let them know. No, perfect. I think we're going to do a poll now. So we got a poll. I'm not sure what the poll said. Oh, there we go. So go. Where is it? What facet of your business would you or do you prioritize the most in terms of apps? Okay, there we go. So that's an interesting question. I'd be interested to see this because it'll be interesting to see how people would use Xero to its benefit, or any cloud software. Because realistically, even if you're not on cloud software now and you're saying, I don't want to be on cloud software, it's too technical, I don't want to incur more costs or whatever it is, it's almost tough because HMRC are changing the rules, whether we like it or not. And you'll know more than me, Kat, because Xero first started in Australia. And if you look at the Australian authorities and basically the Australian tax, I don't even know what they're called, but the HMRC of Australia, they're I think 7 years ahead of us, or 10 years ahead of us. They've been doing Making Tax Digital for years. And if you look at their companies, I think you can't set up a business without being on a cloud-based software. And it's obviously the route that we're going to go. So it's something that people are going to have to get used to. We've had so many where people just said, I don't want the hassle, just do it for us, whatever. And actually, our cloud department is probably one of our fastest growing departments here because everybody needs it and so on. They don't want to do it themselves. And realistically, if you're not a specialist in that area, it's probably wise to get someone else to do it for you, because if you're filing stuff with HMRC every quarter, you want it to be right. You want it to be right. And if it's not right, it's going to cause you problems. So the results. Okay. Interesting.
I think the e-commerce side's a big side.
What's that?
I think the e-commerce part of using a cloud-based solution is a really good side to concentrate on, because most e-commerce sales will link to Xero as well.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
I think we're looking at this, and I think they're all as important as each other. And I think if you look at the time management side of things, the e-com digital payment, the managing cash flow and funding, the reporting and raising invoices, it all kind of fits into the time management. So
yeah,
I think by doing all the others, you're only going to free up your time to be able to, one, grow your business, work on your business rather than working inside it. So listen, I think if you're not using a cloud-based software, number one, you're going to have to, right? Number two, you should look to do it as soon as possible, in my opinion, because there's nothing like, you don't want to change overnight. It's not a big change if you've got the right support. If anything, it's going to work in your favor once it's changed across. If you're not using Xero and you are using a cloud-based software, I would seriously consider, and I'm not just saying it because you're on the call, because we have clients that use Sage, QuickBooks and stuff, but they don't work like Xero does, and Cashflow as well. They do not work like Xero does, and which is why we chose to get you on rather than anyone else from another cloud-based software. So yeah, I mean, have you got anything else to kind of add to follow up?
Just some resources really that I just wanted to kind of make people aware of. So yes, we've got the Xero software, we've got the support team that will help, but we've also got a couple of different areas which I'm just going to show you in a second. We've got different resource channels that you can go to kind of take a look, and all of them are available to anybody that's got a Xero login. So some of this used to only be available to our accounting partners, whereas now anybody that's got the Xero login, so the clients, you've got access to this. So our Xero Central, so we've got like two parts to the Xero Central. So we've got the bit that talks about support, where you can go ask questions, but that's also got two channels to it, so you can go and ask support directly to Xero, so that'll come through to our support team and we'll provide you with an answer. But we've also got a community in there as well, so if you wanted to put something in and get the community's opinion on it, or maybe what people do differently in different ways that they use Xero, that's definitely a great place to look. But there's also the learning side of it, so within Xero Central you can go and learn how to use Xero, learn how to use different areas of Xero. I think this is really good if you've got something really specific in your business. There might be a training course within Xero Central on that. We've got the TV channel, so there's lots of videos and guides on there from Xero, and lots of interviews with different people on the use of Xero, and then finally just the YouTube channel as well. It's Nodders have got the TV channel and your YouTube channel, so it just gives you another place to look at for videos and guides.
Good.
So that's it from me.
Good. Listen, I just want to say thank you for coming on. I think that what's good is, listen, everyone's still here, everyone's still listening. It really is really important to touch on this. I have had a text to say that there is a question, but I can't actually see it. So actually, the person who's asked the question has my number, so feel free to send me the text before we go so we can touch on the question. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who's come on and who's listening, because this is a big thing, making tax digital. It is something that you're all going to have to do if you haven't done already. And if you have done it already, there's so much more you could probably do with it that you're just not aware of. And I've had the question. Oh, okay. I think I've just touched on it. Are there any other alternatives to MTD, making tax digital, of course? And do I have to do it? Well, the answer to the question is no. You do have to do it if you fall into what Kat showed you before. It is going to affect you, whether it affects you now, it has affected you already, it's going to affect you this year, or whether it's going to affect you in the future, right? And I think you're just going to have to run with it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, at some point you're going to become compliant. If you've got a business, you're going to fall into it at some stage. I think it's just not fighting against it and finding a way that actually it works for your business, or making use of it. So if, for example, you need to be MTD compliant, but your sales invoices might be lacking, or you're spending a lot of time on different areas, make use of having to move on to a cloud-based software and think that actually it can improve your business in lots of different areas. So rather than fighting against it, just lean into it and embrace the change, really.
I agree, because it actually, with the reporting and everything like that, getting real-time information, putting your forecasts in, making key decisions, it's the only way forward. It is literally the only way forward, and it's only going to make your life a lot easier for your business. It's going to allow you to grow your business, which again is probably the biggest question I get asked: how do I grow my business? As soon as I ask for up-to-date information, it takes them 6 months to get it to me. So you know, to get the up-to-date information is priceless. And if I'm going to be honest, if we look at all our successful businesses that we look after, and when I mean by successful, I mean ones that are consistently growing, that are profitable, that are doing well, they all have a system in place that's working and working smoothly. I've got another question. Do invoices need to be mailed, or is there a way to upload them?
So there's lots of different methods with your invoices. So yes, you can automatically email them out. So the email is probably the best method because it's the way that you can track it. But you can PDF them and attach them to a separate email. You could PDF them and print them. You can export them into Excel. There's so many different formats that you can do with the invoicing. So any method that you want to choose, I think there will be an option for it, but I would say that email is probably my favourite one.
Perfect. Look, no more questions. I think we've covered a lot. What I will say is, anybody that wants to chat about making tax digital, get in touch. I think an email will come out after, just say how to get in touch, but I'll throw my email out there now, mitch@nordens.co.uk. Kat, if anybody wants to get hold of you, how can they get hold of you?
Via LinkedIn or my email address, or via Mitch.
You can get there via me. I'll help you out. I'll do an introduction. Not a problem. I have direct access to Kat, fortunately. So if anybody wants to chat about anything, about how to improve your systems, how it will affect you, if it will affect you, please do reach out. Don't leave it too late, because if you do, it's going to cause you more problems. You'd rather get everything set up and ready to go. And honestly, it's not a long, difficult process. It's really easy to do, providing you leave yourself enough time to do it. If you're already on a system and you go, I want Xero, it's an easy transition. We can change you over overnight. It's not a problem at all. So look, Kat, I'll say, firstly, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on. A recording will go out and be sent to everybody. You can follow us on social media. Follow our newsletter. You'll see all the updates. And Kat, I just want to say thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I know you're a very, very busy lady, especially now of making tax digital. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been lovely to join the webinar and talk to your clients. Thanks.
No problem.